Would you all please stand and join Sue Lounsbury with all of us? Sue?
Will you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will you remain standing for the four-way test? If you'll repeat with me, of all the things we think, say, or do, is it truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? You may all sit down, and then will those who have guests that would like to introduce them please stand? Are you introducing?
Yes, ma'am. Please do. I'd like for you to meet. What? This is our guest of the club, Jamie Feld. She's with Boulder County Public Health and just made a presentation to our Wellness Committee.
Mike?
My friends Jim and Lana are joining me today. Jim is a photographer, writing a book right now, and Lana, she is a ER tech. Both of them I know through Trans Martial Arts. She's an assistant instructor there, and we're all students there. Jim and Lana.
Chad, are you doing the honors?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to let our students say hello and give a little bit about what they've been doing lately.
Hi, I'm Victoria from Argentina, and last week we went on a ski weekend with Rotary, and it was such a good time. And we were thinking today, and we are so grateful from being on Rotary. It's so easy, and maybe if you go with other exchange, it's more difficult and expensive, and we are really grateful because all your donations and stuff help us to be here. So thank you all.
Hi, I'm Paul from France. So yeah, last weekend we go to ski weekend, and I ski every year in France, and ski in US is so better because in France it's fake snow. We don't have snow because it's not good, and here we have good snow, so good. So thank you so much.
And which ski slope did you go down?
Fortunately, none. Hi, good afternoon. My guest today is Lynn Hoffinger from Ludington, Michigan. He's a Rotarian, and it turns out I accidentally sat next to him at See You on the Weekend on Saturday, a room of 250 people. We were there after everybody had left as we were talking about many things. So please welcome Lynn.
Deidre?
My guest is Terry Basel. She owns a business called Assisted Living Locators. She can help with finding assisted living, memory care, and retirement facilities for everybody. So welcome to Terry.
Scott?
Hello. I'd like to introduce Andy Stahelic, who is in the CU Department of Molecular Biology and is interested in electric cars. So, thank you.
And Lindsay?
I'm excited to welcome Mary Fritchie. Her and I met at an AAUW Boulder social event, and Mary is a certified tea specialist who was just telling us she actually knows the the tea minister of India. So she is very experienced in that industry and supports fair trade and equal salaries for women in that industry. So she's very fascinating and very interested in Rotary. She has familiarity through her time on the East Coast. So thank you for joining us today.
I believe Mary mentioned when you got off the airport in Uganda that you saw Rotary signs all over the place.
Oh, sorry about that. Thank you. I'm trying to shout. When you land in Entebbe, and I travel through to the very rural section on the Congo border, but still in Uganda, as you're departing Entebbe, in Kampala, driving through, there's a Rotary right there, and then there's a couple more that you'll pass along the way. So thank you for being so present.
Thank you. It's always nice to know, we know that we are international, and yet to have that kind of information is exceptional. Deborah, who's the guy with you with the wing?
So my husband, Jim, is with me today. I want to dispel all the rumors that I heard online that I had anything to do with his rotator cuff surgery, okay? It was not me, so welcome, Jim.
Thanks so much. You'll notice on your tables, table tents, and there is the red one that's about the membership committee, this being the first Friday of the month, and we always welcome First Friday friends anytime. Those who are on the membership committee, Darla is sharing this. Would you, as a membership committee member, put your hand in the air so others can look around and see where and who you are? We encourage any and all of you, as you sit by somebody in a meeting, as you just heard, come on down. We'd love to have you. I'd like to thank those that helped make this happen today. Darla, again, as a greeter, Ruth Orvin, Red Badge greeter, and then Penny for stepping in with Glenn and Alessandro to scan you in to be sure that you're accounted for. Then always Fred behind the camera, Wendy, Grant, and Nathan all helping with the meeting management. There's another table tent about that, depending, it's still on another of the table tents that would indicate that's another wonderful committee, and we'd welcome your involvement with that. As Carol and Penny are coming up, I'd like to give a big thanks to Diana Sherry. You can wave if you want to wave or stand up. And all of those who either helped with or attended Monday night's mental health series. Would you give a wave out? Because there were a number of you. Thank you so much for that. It was the first of a series, and the next one is the 26th of February, and we'll keep giving you that information. So, Carol, would you please? Get my stuff. By now, I'm pretty sure that all of you know the woman I'm going to introduce today. She was at the front desk. She was helping with all of the guests and greeting people. Penny Rather has been a member of our club for several months, and she immediately got involved in the work of the club. I'm delighted at last to trade her blue badge, her red badge, for a blue one to signify that she is a seasoned and active member of our club. Penny and I have been friends for many years. We were both members of two different women's organizations in which she was also an active leader. Her initial career as an electrical engineer no longer satisfied her need for human service, so she retired from that profession and returned to graduate school to earn first a Master of Divinity degree at Naropa University and then a Doctor of Ministry degree at Iliff School of Theology. She sealed her change of vocation by serving as a parish minister at Unitarian Universalist churches in Wyoming and Boulder. She and her husband, Howard, have been married for over 30 years. They have 2 married children and 4 young grandchildren. Penny's a natural fit for Rotary. She's a good listener, open to new ideas, willing to hear different sides of an issue. Her ethics and commitment to service are exemplary, And it's a real privilege for me to extend our Rotary welcome once again to Penny Rather. Michelle wanted to give a brief announcement about an upcoming event as well.
So those of you who read the Rib have seen lately some information about the opportunity to have an intern this summer. Our club's vocational committee is working with the I Have a Dream Foundation. We'd love to have a couple of you say, yes, I'd love to have a high schooler in my office this summer. One of our students said, imagine those of you who have teenagers. My internship taught me so much about responsibilities. I improved my patience, time management, and communication. Just a couple of wonderful things we can do for our teenagers. If you're interested in learning more about having a summer intern, I'm going to leave these flyers with Pam in the back, who's also on our committee. We're having a breakfast next Friday, so you can have breakfast with us and then have lunch with us again. Wow. The breakfast next Friday, I'm looking at Doug with Foothills United Way is sponsoring that event. So we hope you'll join you then. More information how to sign up in the back with Pam on the flyer. Thank you.
If you happen to be looking at your agenda, you'll notice that it says a Rotary Moment and it says Imagination Library. I heard from Rod Tunge that they're not ready yet. We're still working on the students that will be the recipients, so we'll roll this out in the spring. However, I would like you to use your imagination for something else which happened today. Does somebody have the special hat for me, Dr. Garmany? It's called The Raffle is Back. So, if you bought a raffle ticket today, would you please stand?
I'll stay here until you get a winner. Just in case.
All righty. Now, if you happen to have a ticket that begins with 1. Okay, good. If you have one that begins, the next number is 7. Sit down if you don't have a 7. Sorry. How about a number 4? If you've got a number 4, you can remain standing. Okay, how about a number 1? You can remain. Okay, a 2, you can remain standing or take your, oh my goodness sakes, you must got tired. Okay, and then how about a number 2 at the end? Do we have anybody who still lives? Oh, well, good on you. Welcome, come on up. So the way this one works, thank you to Mike Brady and the State Department for finally seeing the wisdom of their ways and letting us do this again. What we're doing at this point, it's a 50-50. We had $95, I think you said.
Well, we had 190, so they get 95.
Oh, I see. They get a 90. Thank you very much. Well, welcome. Come back and join us and see what happens next time. Thank you. Okay, you want the ticket? Okay. Required by the secretary. Okay, so thank you all, and we would like you to realize that this has been a long time coming. We're delighted for it because it does help our scholarship, all the different scholarships that we support. So Nathan, would you please?
Well, hello, everybody. I'm very honored to be introducing today's speakers. Kara Goucher is one of Boulder's finest professional athletes. She was a silver medalist in the 2007 World Champion in the 10,000 meters in Osaka, Japan, and a 2-time Olympian competing in the 2008 and 2012 Games. Originally from Duluth, Minnesota, Goucher won 4 national championships running for the Buffs. Both she and Adam are members of the University of Colorado Athletics Hall of Fame. Kara holds personal bests in the 5,000 meter at 14 minutes, 55 seconds. 10,000 meter of 30 minutes, 55 seconds. She also set the American record for a debut in the marathon in New York City in a time of 2 hours, 25 minutes, 53 seconds, becoming the first American to podium in more than a decade. We'll talk about the Boston Marathon in 2012, where she finished 5th with 2 hours, 24 minutes, 52 seconds. Adam Goucher first gained recognition as a runner when he won the Foot Locker National High School Cross Country Championships in 1993 while at Doherty High School in Colorado Springs. While running for the University of Colorado, Adam won 4 NCAA championships, NCAA cross country, 3,000 meter indoor, and 5,000 meter outdoor. Adam has won 8 US titles, and made the finals in 7 world championships. His personal bests, his mile is 3 minutes, 54 seconds. 4 minutes. 5,000 meters, 13 minutes, 10 seconds. 10,000 meters, 27 minutes, 59 seconds. Adam placed 13 in the Sydney Olympics in 2000. In the 5,000 meter, 7 seconds behind the winner, Behrad Wadi. He's the author of a book, Running the Edge, with Tim Catalano, and continues to promote better running and a better life through runtheedge.com. Dr. Stephen Walker is a longtime member of Boulder Rotary and a sports psychologist who has worked with 7 Olympic athletes performing in 5 different sports, numerous NCAA All-Americans, and CHSAA state championships. He has supported the development of 3 athletes who have finished on the podium in the World Championship and or Olympic Games in 3 different sports. Thank you.
We're going to watch a little video and then we'll start.
He is indeed, as Nick Rogers now has built a big lead. Brad Hauser is now his closest pursuer, with Adam Goucher shortly behind in 3rd. And Mark Davis has fallen back to 4th. Matt Lane is 5th. And Bob Kennedy struggling in 6th place. They have 1 lap to go. There's Kennedy struggling down the home stretch, but he's not going to make it. It doesn't appear at this time. Nick Rogers leads into the final lap. Adam Goucher has taken over in 2nd place. Brad Hauser is 3rd. Matt Lane is 4th. We're down the back stretch. And the battle is between Goucher and Hauser, 2nd and 3rd, because Nick Davis has a big lead.
Now Goucher seems a little uneven in his form. He needs to look around and decide whether he wants to win the race and risk aggravating his injury or just be calm and make the team. But Goucher's MO is, I gotta win every time I come over.
Goucher goes to the lead. Rogers is fading badly as Hauser passes him as well. Rogers is back into 3rd, but he'll still make the team if he can hold on. Adam Goucher, Achilles injury and all, leads Brad Hauser through the straightaway. Nick Rogers holding in 3rd. It's going to be Adam Goucher to win it. Hauser is going to finish 2nd, and the final Olympic spot goes to Nick Rogers.
Well, you can see Goucher in that last 200 yards. He's fighting to keep his form. I think the leg, well, he's limping. He's dragging his leg off the track with him. Here is a foot race. And Goucher, who was the top American last year, wasn't going to try and let any doubts be sown in anyone's mind. What a pressure-filled week he's had.
Well, Nick Rogers finishing 3rd, but does not have the A qualifying standard for the Olympics, 13:29. He just missed. He missed by 48 hundredths of a second, so he has until September.
Can you believe that? Think there's any drama in that? You haven't even heard half of it. We'll be talking about that. Nate, can you put that slide up? Go ahead and make yourselves comfortable. It's wonderful to be here, and I am so pleased. The last time I addressed this club was 1994. And Paul Turley was the guy that brought me in to speak to the club. And I was just really in the beginning stages of talking about how valuable sports psychology is and the value of some of the things that I've been doing. It started for me looking for a restroom. I used to play basketball in pickup games at Carlson Gymnasium, and I needed to go real bad, and I went upstairs, and I'm wandering up and down the hall, and there's no bathroom, and I wander into this place that has treadmills and balloons and a hot tub with a scale on it, and this voice comes out from the back of the room, and he goes, "What are you doing here?" So when I peeled myself off of the ceiling and I turned around and I looked at this silver-haired guy, and I was meeting for the first time Dr. Art Dickinson, who ran the Human Performance Laboratory at the University of Colorado, and he turned out being a very valuable mentor for me for the next 20 years. I worked at the Human Performance Laboratory in their community fitness program, doing stress evaluations with firefighters, policemen, all faculty members at the university, anybody that was wanting to go through, and they would do a screening for cardiac fitness and the determination of trying to prevent heart disease, and particularly heart attack. Through my work there, Art Dickinson introduced me to Mark Wetmore, who was the coach at the track and field for CU. Actually, Jerry Quiller before him. Mark Simpson, whose wife Valerie is a member of this club. Mark was the golf coach at CU, and I started working with a smattering of athletes at the University of Colorado, and the things that I would do for them, number one was just help them manage their stress load better. If you can imagine the tension and the trauma leading up to that kind of venue, it's pretty significant. And the top three in that race made the Olympic Games if they had the A standard. And the A standard was a requirement that was part of the IAAF, that if you did not meet the A standard, even though you were top three in the US, you weren't going to be making that Olympic team. In swimming, it's even more dramatic in that those athletes have only 2 places that can enter. And there's going to be a lot coming up about USA Swimming in the months ahead. So there's a lot going on in sport that's really valuable to look at. The work that I do with athletes are focused on performance skills training. Now, stress management is just a small part of that, but controlling arousal, being able to keep your focus at whatever your optimal level of arousal is. For some people, they need to be amped up. For other people, they need to calm down. It depends on that individual as to how well they're going to be able to perform. Self-talk and confidence is another key issue, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of what these athletes have been through and how they had to deal with their own self-talk and their confidence, and whether that was suiting them well or not. Goal setting is a significant component to it. A lot of people think that outcome goals are golden. That's the way. My goal is to make an Olympic team, that's really going to be the determining factor for if I wake up every morning and I see make that Olympic team, that's going to be a driver for me. Well, it may be a driver, but I'm far more a proponent of process goals. Those things that we need to be concentrating on in the moment, in the minute, in the hour, in each day at a time. Those process goals ultimately have as a byproduct the success and the outcomes that people are looking to drive for. Mental toughness is huge. We'll be talking a little bit about the difference between being tough and being stupid. And then we're going to be talking, there's things about imagery and visualization, managing emotions. How many times have you seen somebody lose their composure in a competition? Severe penalties may ensue from that, and their team loses as a result of their not being able to manage their composure. Dealing with mistakes and setbacks and injuries are all a significant part of this work. So let's get to it without any further ado, and we'll have some Q&A, and we're going to talk to Adam and Kara. Let's go ahead and bring these lights up and lose the screen, and we'll just go from here. Now, I first met these people through the Human Performance Laboratory at CU. And the work that we did initially, I'm going to let them talk a little bit about. You want to start? I met you first.
Yes, sure. Yep, I think I met Dr. Walker while I was at the University of Colorado, still as an athlete. But we really, I think, started focusing on, my racing and training and preparation. Once I graduated and became running professionally. It was a process that was invaluable for me, even though I had much success throughout my career.
Success. He won 4 NCAA championships running at the University of Colorado. He was also the featured runner in Chris Lear's book, Running with the Buffaloes.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'd done pretty good. I mean, yeah, but there's always room for improvement, and every athlete, no matter where you are in your career and how good you've been, you have moments of doubt, you have moments of insecurity, and so in comes a specialist like Dr. Walker to help me gain that edge from a mental standpoint. So it was pretty invaluable for me once I started working with him, it really helped me hone in my competitiveness and race preparation.
I didn't meet you from the performance lab. I was never a part of that. I met Dr. Walker right after Adam and I had gotten married. I was struggling with some depression issues, probably stemming from my childhood. And so when I first started working with Dr. Walker, we didn't even talk about sports. We just talked about working through some things from my childhood. And then when I was able to deal with that kind of stuff that I had been carrying around for years, then I was able to start really focusing on my running again.
Can I talk just briefly, Mona, about that? Kara's father was killed in a car accident when she was 2 years of age. And a lot of the issues that came around that, having to come to terms with all kinds of issues with respect to men, coaches, the interactions that she was going to have with them and continue to have with them as she continued her career were components to that. And so, yeah.
So, but then it parlayed into working towards sports, because once I was able to deal with some stuff from my youth, then I was able to focus back on my running again.
So when you look at the challenges that you've individually had, Adam, what's been the biggest challenge that you've experienced in sport and running professionally?
My biggest challenge, without a doubt, was just staying healthy. I was constantly fighting some sort of injury. For the majority of my career. It's in order to be successful and pretty much at any sport, you have to have the consistency, be able to put in the miles, put in the work without interruptions. And so an injury that might knock you out for a week or it might knock you out for a month, that really slows things down, slows your progress down. And so.
Would you mind sharing the subtext behind that video?
Sure. So going into the Olympic trials in 2000, I was the year before I won the U.S. title in the 5K, and you might have saw Bob Kennedy. They mentioned he was the top American for 6 years prior to that. No American could touch him. And in '99, I beat him at the national championships, and I had a great year. I set PRs. I was the fittest I'd ever been in my life. And going into 2000, it was just like, yeah, I'm going to make the Olympic team. I knew that there was no way I wasn't going to make the Olympic team. But I had an Achilles issue that started at the end of February and lasted about a month and a half. And I really couldn't run much on it. And then I kind of started forcing it because I started getting nervous, like, oh, well, I got to make an Olympic team here in a few months. So I really started kind of pushing through it, and the Achilles got better, but kind of caused some other issues. I ended up having a SI joint dysfunction where my SI joint was completely locked up and aggravated, and one side was hypermobile, one side wasn't moving at all, and it was bad. I mean, I couldn't run at all. And so I was down at the Olympic Training Center, and 10 days before the prelim of that race was the first time I had run in outside in over 8 weeks. So I just done the cross training, but I was so mentally stubborn that I was like, yeah, I'm still going to make that team. I'm still going to make that team. So I went into the prelims, and you have to be in the top, I think it's top three in each heat, and then, or what was it? 5, 5, and 5. Top 5 in each heat out of 2 heats, and then the next 5 fastest times. And so my first race in a very long time was at the prelims, and I made it through on time. I was coming down the stretch, and I was in 5th place, and someone passed me, and so I was really nervous because, well, I had hoped my time in that race, in that heat, would hold up and get me into the final. So going into the final, we had 3 days, kind of got away, went up to, I was in Sacramento, went up to Lake Tahoe, just to kind of get away from all the craziness of the trials, and had massage therapists with me, and just really trying to just focus and be calm and stick to the race strategy. And I knew that, at least I believed, because I'm stubborn, that if I just stuck to my race, strategy, I could still make that team. And I just had to, the only way I knew to make that team was to outsmart everyone else in the race. And by that, I meant I had to be raced to my ability as best I could. And I knew that I had to really, really pace myself. And so my coach, by the way, Mark Wetmore, what he told me before the race was, hey, just get out there, finish the race, and hope that nobody else in front of you gets the standard, because I had the standard, and Bob Kennedy had the standard. So no matter where we finished in the race, if no one else had the standard, we would have made the team. Okay, we still would have gone. But anyway, fast forward race, I didn't accept that. I just said, hey, I'm going to run as smart as I can. I went out last and worked my way up gradually throughout the race. And when I hit that mode of, okay, I'm going to make the team, but I'm not going to just sit back and make the team. I got to give it my all. And what you saw there literally was 100%. I can look back now, is pretty much 99% mind over body, because there was no way that I was physically ready to do what I did there. And it really messed my world up. Like, it's awesome. It's a great thing. I made the Olympic team. Amazing, right? But it set me up for a lot of other issues throughout the years and throughout my career. And I went into chronic fatigue right after that. So I had like 6 weeks or 8 weeks before the Olympics. And I would go out for a run out on Bobolink here, the trail over here, and I'd be running as slow as I could run, 9 minutes a mile, and my heart rate would be like 185, which is like not redlining, but like that's where I'm racing basically. But I was running so slow, I was pretty messed up. So that took a long time to get over. But anyway, yeah.
One comment I would like to make, because one thing about athletes is that they are people first. And one of the things that was a precursor to these problems that Adam was experiencing was your new house. And with a bunch of buddies over and a do-it-yourself project, and let's trench for an irrigation system, and let's move wheelbarrows full of gravel from the front to the back, and the kinds of things that...
It wasn't the smartest thing to do, like 6 weeks or 8 weeks before the Olympic trials. So yeah, don't do that. When you have something, don't ever do that. So yeah, kind of made a mistake, because I think I had the idea I could do anything. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll be fine. And you have to learn your limits. You have to learn what's important. And I was young and dumb. Thought I could do it all. So, and that actually spurred the back on top of just kind of the Achilles, the landscaping, and then, yeah, it was bad.
Now, one of the reasons why Kara and I didn't really talk about racing at all is because she wasn't racing. Talk about that.
I also was injury plagued. I've had 9 surgeries in my career. So, I mean, I did race at the Olympic trials, the same Olympic trials. I placed 7th in the 5,000, and I was still in college. So I was really happy with that, to be honest. I was really proud, but I was very happy for Adam, but also envious. You know, he was having this huge dream come true that I also had, and I was so happy for him, but there was like a little bit of like, oh man, I wish I was going with him.
So what's been your biggest challenge in sport?
I've had a hard time staying healthy as well. But for me, it's always been my confidence. I will talk myself out of anything. I will have like an amazing workout, amazing race, and then it gets to the important race, and all of a sudden I'm like, I'm a fake, I'm a phony, I'm just lucky, I'm from Duluth, Minnesota, who like, I don't belong here, you know, like I don't belong with this USA on my chest. And so that's always been my biggest battle.
All right, talk a little bit about how we address that.
Therapy?
Specifically, what did we do?
So one thing that's been really helpful for me is that Dr. Walker had me start a confidence journal. And so it kind of, every night I write in my training log, and I have for years since I was in high school. And so I write what I did for the day and how I felt. But Dr. Walker made me write something positive about that day. Even if it was like, bombed out of the workout, threw up 3 times, but finished my cool down, you know, still got my mileage in. So like trying to find something positive with every day. And for me, it's been really a really useful tool, because as it gets closer to the Olympic trials or a really big race, I start this mental chatter of like, you're just from Minnesota, you don't even belong here, you grew up on rice and meat, you know, and like, and spam, you know, like all these things. And then I can flip through that journal, and it helps me remember, like, I've done the work. I do belong to be here. I do belong my chance. I belong to have my chance. I deserve to have my chance.
Okay, fabulous. Now, what we don't have a video of Kara in her World Championships in the 2007 games in Osaka, but she finished on the podium in those World Championships. How big a thrill was that?
Thank you. It changed my life. It changed our lives. I mean, I went from being Adam's wife and someone who also ran to being on the cover of magazines, actually getting paid and getting to race anywhere I wanted, getting my own hotel room. Like just, our lives changed overnight with that one race.
Okay. Now, coming up is a book that Kara has crafted called Courage, that's going to be published on Blue Arts Press. And a lot of what that book is about is confidence and building confidence and doing the things that you need to do in order to do it one day at a time, so that it's not something that you're trying to go from 0 to 60 in 2 seconds. So those things are really kind of a key. Now, you guys have been challenged as a married couple. I won't go into the stats, but this audience will definitely understand that marriages are challenged even under the best of conditions, and sometimes the conditions aren't the best. So why don't you start and talk about some of the challenges that you've experienced as a couple, and how is it you work with that?
You know, when we first got married, Adam was the star. He was the Olympian, and I was kind of always injured and in the shadows, and I would travel to Europe with him and carry his shoes around and fetch him coffee, and I loved that.
That didn't happen.
But
that's totally not true.
It totally happened.
Not.
But as I started to get healthier and things started to shift, and then especially when I won that medal in 2007, and then in 2008 was a really low point for us, because I won the 5,000 at the Olympic trials and made my first Olympic team, won my first national title. But the race that came after mine was Adam's race, and he did not make the team. And it was so difficult because we had had this dream together. I never would be where I was without him. And now it was difficult to just feel a lot of joy for achieving my dream when I know how hard it was for him. And it was hard for us. Like, we did everything together, and all of a sudden I'm going off to the Olympics without him, and it was a very challenging time for us.
Following up on that, she wins the silver medal in Osaka in 2007, and she says, before that, I was Adam's wife, runner. Well, instantly I became Mr. Kara Goucher. And it was kind of funny on one hand, and I enjoyed it, and I lived it up, and it was fun. But we were, at the time, we had left Boulder. We were in Portland, Oregon, working with a coach out there, and so a lot of our training and support crew around us was different than when we were here. Dr. Walker wasn't really a part of that process for us at that time. And so going into 2008, I was coming off of a foot injury. I had a navicular, anyway, yeah. So I was kind of fighting back again. And I thought I could, do this. But after a while, you kind of get beat down so much, and you're just like, how many more times can you get, kicked in the gut, right? And still come back. And so I was kind of just really frustrated, and she's getting better as I'm falling off. And it wasn't, a lot of it had to do with our situation. She had all the support at the time, and the coach that we had moved out there for was not, we did not get along. And so we moved out there for me, but by 2007, I was kind of being pushed out of the picture. And so that was really tough, because it was kind of like, let's get rid of Adam as fast as we can. It was just a very bad situation that we were in. It was very good for Kara, but it was very bad for me. So that was a really tough point in our marriage and our careers.
There was more that goes along with that
yeah,
too.
we don't have enough time.
Because on the one hand, hey, we're married and let's make a baby, and I don't think your coach was all that supportive of that.
No. I always knew I wanted to be a mom, and I always, if I had written my story, I would have gotten, I would have had a child right after the 2004 Olympics, but I didn't make the 2004 Olympic team, and Adam did not either. So, but 2007, 2008, 2009, I was running so well. I was like third in New York and third at the Boston Marathon, and it was difficult because I just knew that there's been times in my career where running is the first love I ever really had. I love running so much, but there have been times where it flipped to being a job, and it had flipped over. Everything was outcome oriented. Nothing mattered. There were no little joys along the way. Everything was about race day and did you win or not, basically, on the biggest scale. I mean, Boston Marathon. So I wanted to have a child, and we wanted to have a child, and we kept putting it back. And finally I just said, I can't do this anymore. I'm hitting my head against the wall, and I want to start a family. So we did. And yeah, my sponsor and my coach were not really that happy about it.
So this constant push-pull between being a human being and being a world-class athlete is not all that it's cracked up to be. And the support system is really critical in that kind of situation. And if you have a coach that is not supporting you as an individual in terms of what your life's ambitions are, it can break the day. And so ultimately you've moved on now, a couple new coaches, and still a lot of success in another Olympic Games in 2012. Now, one of the things that I want to ask, what has been your biggest thrill in sport?
Tough one. Excuse me. I think the two biggest things that happened in my career, I kind of have to say the two biggest things: making the Olympic team in 2000 because of what I fought through to make it there. And before that, when I won the NCAA cross country title in 1998, that was 4 years in the making. As a freshman in 94, I finished second at the championships, and 3 seconds behind fifth-year senior, Martin Kino. If you know anything about running, Kip Kino was his father. He was Olympic gold medalist in the Mexico Olympics. So he was running for the University of Arizona. But anyway, so it was like at that point, it was like, oh, I'm ready. Like I'm gonna win all these titles. It's gonna be great. And then reality sets in. The struggles of life and the things that kind of hold you back, and ups and downs. And so that process of going through the year, the following year I had a knee issue. The year after that, I redshirted and I had a surgery. And then year after that, I was ready to go. And the day we left for nationals, I woke up with the worst sore throat I had almost ever had, congestion. I was like, you got to be kidding me. And it went in, and I finished fourth, which is great. But so going in, it was my last race of my career. I was graduating in December, so it was that was pretty much it, and I pulled it off. Yeah. So
You also won the 5,000.
I did, but that was
championship.
That was before. That was in the summer or the track season.
Okay.
Before.
You.
I would say probably two. One would be running my first half marathon. I ran 66:57, which still stands as the fastest debut any woman in the world has ever run.
Say that again.
66:57. And I beat Paula Radcliffe by a minute, who was, she's won world championships and she's the world record holder. And so it was just kind of a surreal moment. But I think the biggest thrill for me was in 2012. We had left that kind of toxic situation. I was coming off of an injury, and the Olympic marathon trials were in January. And I was coming off of a stress fracture, and I only started running 8 weeks before. And it was down to the wire, would I even be able to run a marathon, let alone a good one? And I ended up placing third and making that team. And at that time, we had our son. And it was that's probably the most meaningful race of my life, because I did it with my family, not in that environment anymore. And yeah, I got to go to London, so it was cool.
So, question that I want to ask is there one thing that you can recommend for any athlete that's going to be competing in South Korea?
One thing?
One thing.
The one thing is I can offer to anybody, especially an Olympic athlete, it's just trust the work that you put in, trust what you've done, and believe in yourself and your preparation. So trust in the preparation and the work.
Yeah, I would echo a similar sentiment. In 2007, I won a medal at the World Championships. A year later, I was a medal favorite in Beijing at the Olympics, and I totally tanked. Because I had just built it up so much, and all the things that made me successful, I let them go. I didn't spend time with my family before the race, and I closed myself off. And all those things that made me happy and made me who I was to be successful, I kind of changed them and let it become bigger than it needed to be. At the end of the day, I was still just running 10,000 meters, but I turned it into something so much bigger than that. So I would just say, really just concentrate on, what you're doing. You've done it a million times. And just try to, everything around you, there'll be cameras and there's so much going on around you, but just try to remember, this is what you do, and don't let it escape you. Don't let it become bigger than it is.
Routines.
Yeah. Adam and Kara, thank you so much for supporting us at Boulder Rotary today and inspiring us.
Thank you.
I know I personally, I'm sure a lot of other people in the room really respect your transparency and your honesty behind being an athlete, because yes, first, we are all humans, and I think all of us have goals, whether they're athletic, career goals, and some of this kind of setting your mental state in the right place is really a challenge. I am a runner myself, and my husband and I enjoy athletics together, and we've both had our own kind of big races that we've had to support each other for. My husband's done Boulder Ironman, and it's brought up a lot of, just things for him in the past that he's started to kind of tackle with. We're actually from Minnesota too. So I think it's absolutely fabulous that you're from the Twin Cities. Yeah, so we enjoy our athletics together, and kudos to you guys for sticking with it as a team and showing your child what it's all about, because it really does open your mind up to a lot. On behalf of Boulder Rotary Club today, one thing that we focus our mental energy on is eradicating polio, and we're so close to closing that chapter. So in your honor, for being with us today, we want to donate 100 doses of polio in your name. Vaccines, I'm sorry. Vaccines of polio. Don't do that. In your honor. So we really appreciate you being here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Thank you all very, very much. It's our a second panel. We didn't know exactly the format that this would be, but we're so appreciative, Kira and Adam, for being here, Kara, and Steve for your leadership in making this happen. And another thank you from last week for Tim Johnson, who's with us again, for your participation in that panel, and Mike for your moderating of that. It was a significant one and a different one for us, and yet we think it was a very important one. So at this point, let's go to the PowerPoint and then follow it up with our birthdays.
Rotarians and guests, and welcome to Boulder Rotary's PowerPoint presentation for February 2nd, 2018.
February is Peace and Conflict Prevention Resolution Month.
When the power of love overcomes the love of power, the world will know peace. Jimi Hendrix.
If someone thinks that peace and love are just a cliche that must have been left over from the 60s, that's a problem. Peace and love are eternal. John Lennon. Next, on committee briefs, join us on February 6th for our Rotaract meeting from 6 to 7 p.m. in the Humanities Building. Join us for a creative hour making Valentine's Day cards for Fraser Meadows.
And don't forget to sit at the birthday table. The Birthday Scholarship Fund donations are $1 per year or more, in case you're really young, to the Scholarship Fund during the month you celebrate your birthday. Sit at the birthday table.
Mountain Foothills Rotary Club's annual chili cook-off is February 3rd from noon to 3 p.m. General admission is $10 in advance and $20 at the door.
The event raises funds for the famous Crutches for Africa program. Register on the Crutches for Africa website or contact David Talbot for more information. Have you ever considered hosting a summer intern in your office? Well, it's a great way to get involved in launching a student's career pathway.
Boulder Rotary Club's Vocational Committee is partnering with the I Have a Dream Foundation to promote internships and apprenticeships.
On February 9th, there'll be a complimentary breakfast at the new Embassy Suites in Boulder for organizations interested in learning more about hosting summer internships. This event is possible thanks to the underwriting support of the Foothills United Way.
For more than 20 years, the I Have a Dream Foundation of Boulder County has placed eligible high school students in paid summer internships with organizations like University of Colorado, Boulder County District Attorney's Office, Boulder Housing Partners, and among others. Attendees will hear from previous hosts, including District Attorney Stan Garnett, and former interns about why this experience is so critical to building Boulder County's future talent pipeline.
Come see how your organizations can benefit from the creativity and energy of local youth. For more information, see flyers on your tables and feel free to contact our very own Michelle Carpenter. Next week's program. February 9th, Opera Theater Singers. Normally, this would have been Sally's turn for a slide, but she says she's a little stuffed up. So, this has been the Boulder Rotary Club PowerPoint for February 2nd, 2018. Everybody now,
Have a great weekend.
In the past, we have also invited neighbors, friends, wives, assorted others, anybody to come for the Opera Theater Singers. It's kind of like our pre-Valentine time. You don't have to Valentine to come and to bring anybody, so you would be encouraged to do so if that works for you next Friday. So George, do you need this mic or do you have one?
Well, the birthday table is the best place to sit on a Friday afternoon on or near your birthday. They say with wine improves with age, but I've found that age improves with wine. We have James Radusky, brought into the club by Francie Ann Hutt, and he's in marketing. I have Mike Brady, brought in the club by Carl Tinsman, financial planner. Do you want to say some words?
Of course I want to say something, you know me. So birthday's a great time to look at your life and say, how are things going? You know, sometimes business is going great, but personal's not, or personal's going great in business. And I got to tell you, every aspect of my life is just perfect. You know, you look at it and you say, wow, how can it get any better? And that's the honest to goodness truth. And I am so proud to be a Rotarian. I sit here and look now at the coming year. We're going to have our 100th year, and I get to be a part of it. And Lena and John, as the chairs of the Centennial Committee, have all these wonderful plans for us. It is going to be just the best year, and I just can't wait for it. And I'm glad you're going to be a part of it with me. So thank you very much.
Nancy Chen Warner was brought in the club by Jean. She's a trainer and consultant. You have some.
Oh, I'm going to piggyback on Mike. I'm so excited to be part of the Rotarian group, and I'm glad Lena and John Rieger is going to be on this 100th birthday and be a part of it. We're going to be in history. So this is awesome, and I met so many great friends here, and I think it's wonderful. Hi, Anne-Marie. And I think it's wonderful to be a part of this organization, and I think if you're not, you should meet someone in the membership committee like Dollar over there. Okay, and Deb. All right, thank you. Who else?
James Fetterman was brought in the club by Norris Hermsmeyer, real estate. And we have the last one, Carrie Stevens, brought in the club by Maria Roditis, and she's in banking. Be sure and sit at the birthday table anytime close to your birthday. You're the most valuable members of our club. We want to recognize you and honor you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. If on the tables there's a sign-up sheet if you should be interested in learning more from Steve Walker and his newsletter. I'm sure that would be something that he would be willing to share with you. I asked Doug Rutherford, and I'm not going to call him out, but I happen to have 2 tickets for this Sunday's women's basketball game. So if he doesn't want them and somebody else here does, get them first. I would be delighted to have them used. We're not in town, and it would be a good thing to support the gals if you can. It's noon this Sunday, so I've got them in my hot hands. At this point, what did I forget? Anything? Oh, you want them? Sold. Okay. No charge. Just use them. Thank you. And we welcome those of you, I was going to say Tom Price, but I think he ran away. Okay, he ran away. Well, anyway, he said, you know, I'm in town, and what better place to be on a Friday afternoon than Boulder Rotary? So we totally agree with him on that. Welcome you all, and hope that your weekend is a fantastic one. Stay safe, stay warm. We don't have snow, so we can't do too much about the winter sports. But anyway, at this point, if I don't have any hands saying you forgot something, I'm going to call the meeting to an end. Happy weekend.